Hey guys, I'm Daisho and I'm here bringing you some magic, and today I'm going to be commentating over the finals of this Gatecrash draft. This is the second one that I've ever done, and I thought it went pretty well. I drafted a decent Boros deck. I knew exactly what I wanted to do from the start. I wasn't going to mess around and play some sort of Gruul or Simic or Orzhov or Dimir deck. I knew exactly what I wanted to do, and I did so from the second pick. I picked a frontline medic first pick, and then second pick I took this guy right here, Firefist Striker. He's just a really solid battalion dude. He's a 2-1 on the front side, and he just becomes awesome if you get him on the other side, which is battalion. And yeah, I really like the creature, and I'm very happy to have him in my deck. So other than that, my opponent is playing a awesome Orzhov deck. He's basically got as much removal as you can possibly imagine any deck ever having. I don't know if I know everybody has faced the infinite removal deck that their opponent's playing, but this Orzhov deck, man, I don't think I've ever seen a deck with as much removal as this one had. But anyway, I'm going to play an Armored Transport and start beating in with that. And he plays an Assault Griffin, and then I'm going to play an Assault Griffin of my own. So I am very happy to just trade blows with that if he wants to attack, because I know that I'm the aggressor in this matchup. That's what the Boros deck likes to do. But I also, looking at my hand, know that I have this Molten Primordial in hand. So if I ever get to 7 mana, then it should win me the game, as long as I am able to do a little bit of damage early on. So anyway, he's just going to play Prophetic Prism here. I think he wants to hit all his land drops. He might have other spells he can cast, but he wants to make sure that he can hit everything. So now I have a 5th land. I still need a 2nd red, but that's not too big of a deal. Actually, it is a decent deal, because if I did have the 2nd red, then I could just massive raid kill the thing, the little guy, the Assault Griffin. That's it. Sorry, the little birdie thing. You know, flies, has wings, stuff like that. Anyway, he's going to Arrows of Justice, get rid of my Assault Griffin. Unfortunate, I would have much rather either traded or just killed him with it. I mean, that's what Assault Griffins do, right? Just murder people. It's one of my favorite cards in the set. It's really strong at a 3-2. I think it's gotten a lot worse since people started scrounging for playables more, and a lot of people are now playing Millennial Gargoyle. I didn't see that at the beginning of the format, but as it progressed, people realized that, I mean, at least this is my opinion, that there aren't too many playables. I think RTR was a lot better in the sense that there were so many extra cards that you always had that you're like, I have 33 cards, which one should I cut to make my 23 card deck? And in this case, it's just usually not the case, and you're like, well, can I play this Wildwood Rebirth, or is this Burst of Strength really good enough in my deck, or something like that? But anyway, I think a lot of people started playing Armored Transport now. So, not Armored Transport, I meant Millennial Gargoyle, and that makes Assault Griffin worse because it's no longer a card that like nobody can deal with. It's now just a 3-2 that'll trade with their 4-drop. Anyway, he's going to Executioner Swing, get rid of my Derek Skyjack. So that's the second thing he's Executioner Swing that swung this game, which really shows that even though it's not ideal, it's still a pretty good card. He took 5 damage because of it, but he's still in this game because that's how it goes with Executioner Swing. You get rid of their threats, and even though you take 1 hit, it's still usually okay. It's also very good if you have like 1/4 blockers and stuff. But anyway, I still have those 2 double red cards in hand, and I am on 6 lands, so once I draw that next red, I'll be good to go. But for now, I can't really cast them. But it's a little annoying because I think I would have cast it last turn, the Molten Primordial last turn, and been able to win with it. But I'm just getting him with my Armored Transport again, and that thing is just getting in there all day. But I started taking down the life a little prematurely because he is going to Orzhov Charm, my dude. So a little bit unfortunate for him that I have this Guardian of the Gate list that he now has to deal with right after I Orzhov Charmed. But anyway, I'm going to hit him for 3. I could have played the Primordial here, but instead I'm just going to Massive Raid him. That way I don't have to show him the Primordial. It's very small advantage going one way or the other, but after him playing 2 Executioner Swing, I guess I probably should have played around it. Maybe there's an argument for not having to play around it because he's already played 2. What are the chances that he's got 3? But I could have just massive raided first main before attacking, before my creature dealt damage, because if I do massive raid and then he kills it in response with an Executioner swing, then that gets really awkward really quickly. Anyway, my opponent's going to lead off here with the Basilica Guards on turn 3. I mean, he played a Prophetic Prism, but it didn't really do much. I really like Prophetic Prism in the Extort deck, because not only is it just a cheap spell for them to extort off of and help them fix their mana in case they have any issues, it also draws them another card, which will get them to the next spell, which they can extort off of also. So if you've got a ton of extort, then it becomes super useful. But anyway, my first spell of the game is going to be an Assault Griffin. Not ideal for me. I do have a pretty fast deck, but it also has a late game component to it. There's a bunch of powerful 5-drops, or not so powerful, but decent 5-drops that I really want to be hitting, and that's pretty awesome that I'm able to hit them on time. But anyway, I mean, a blisteringly fast start may have been a little better, but I don't know. Anyway, he's going to Executioner swing my Assault Griffin, and he's already back up to 19 with those 2 extorts that he's gotten, which is really not great for me. So basically the thing to take away so far from this game is that Executioner swing is super good in the extort deck. It's only 2 mana, so you can extort it, and that's really useful. And it also doesn't really care too much about being hit once, because you're going to be able to gain that life back with extort. So anyway, I'm going to swing on in there with my Fortress Cyclops. It's going to be a 6/3 when it attacks, 3/6 when it blocks, but 6/3 when it attacks. So I know I can get through that Basilica Guards as long as he doesn't have any trickery for me, but I also sense that there is something bad going to happen, especially once he blocks here. I think he would have taken it if it mattered, but he's just going to smite my dude, and I am going to be a sad panda. I could have just tried to get in damage and like aerial maneuvered pre-combat, but that's really terrible, especially because then I wouldn't be able to play a spell. So I definitely don't think that was the right play. I think that just attacking there is fine. You really need to. It's not like he's ever going to not have his dude. But anyway, here I make an interesting play, and I decide to just attack with both my knights into 2 1/4s. So that's really kind of stupid, because he can just either A, block with each of them, or B, just take 2 and double block the other one, and he puts him in a much better position. But what he decided is, since he's got removal spells in hand, he's just going to take it this time, and if I attack next turn, then he'll double block. And he just snapped us that. He knew exactly what he was going to do, and now I can just save one of my creatures. I've got this aerial maneuver. I can save one of my creatures, but it's really not too advantageous for me to do so. But I just order blockers so that I can kill the Basilica Guards, and I play this aerial maneuver just to make my creatures survive. It's pretty bad. It's basically just losing a card, and probably not worth it. I shouldn't have made the attack to begin with. The first attack is fine, especially since he doesn't have any removal or anything, but right now I'm happy because I can actually just kill his Basilica Guards, so that puts me in a pretty good spot. Because I really want the Extorter gone, especially since I know that this game is not going exactly in my favor, and I'm going to need to go long if I want to actually win this game. And man, I'm already getting winded, and I know that there is still about 10 more minutes left in this video, so it's going to be an issue, but we're going to try and fight through it. There's a lot of interactions in this game where at one point you have to think a lot, because what's going to happen here, what's going to happen there, I don't know. So he's going to extort me with an Arrows of Justice. He's just going to kill my other knight. He doesn't really care about the one that I just pumped, and he's like, yeah, whatever, no big deal. So, but it was a really good play by him. If I had some sort of blood rush, like a Scorchwalker or something like that, I guess that wouldn't really help. I don't know, maybe like a Wrecking Ogre to kill both of his creatures, then he would have been fine. He would have just Arrows of Justice in response, and that's why he waited. But anyway, post-combat I'm going to play Mugging, and I do manage to get that Extorter off the table, which was, I guess, my original goal. I don't know, a little bit earlier, if you were paying attention, you were able to see all the cards in his hand. I can't remember them offhand, but this was definitely one of them, called the Nightwing. Another one was, something really good. An Angelic Edict he's got in hand. Another Smite, I believe. and perhaps even his 7-drop. I can't remember if that's in hand. But anyway, he's just going to play a Call of the Nightwing, Cypher onto the dude, and then afterwards I'm just going to kill it with a Massive Raid. He was going and looking for a token, and I'm just like, you know what, I'm just going to kill this thing, so no big deal here. Anyway, I'm going to find a Syndic of Ties, which is pretty awesome for me, because that means that I can battle his Extort. And since he doesn't have any Extorts right now, then I'm in pretty decent shape. So, anyway, he's just going to tap 5 and Angelic Edict it. So, there goes that idea, but, I mean, it was a good thought. And it's not like I'm not going to play my spells out. But here's where my deck is actually pretty good against is. I have a ton of 5-drops in the deck, and sometimes his smaller creatures can't actually deal with my 5-drops, and he just basically has to use removal spell after removal spell, and eventually he's going to run out. Anyway, he's going to play Basilica Creature here. I'm going to come back with a Court Street Denizen, which is an awesome card. I really didn't like it too much at the beginning, but I think it's very good in an aggressive deck, and it's very good in a grindy deck, because when you're grinding them out, there's going to be a lot of situations where if they can attack, then they have to leave back a key creature to block, and then this can just take that out if you have a white creature. It's also really good with Night Watch, and very good with Beckon Apparition, which again is just one of those cards where if you don't have enough playables, then you're going to run a Beckon Apparition. You're not really going to like it, but you're going to do it. Anyway, here's where it would have been really useful to have that aerial maneuver back. I could have attacked with my Nav Squad Commandos and gotten in, because he would have, even if he blocks with the Corpse Blockade, I can just kill it, so unfortunate, but it happens. So he just hit his 7th land, and I'm pretty sure he's got a 7-drop in hand, but he doesn't want to cast it yet. He wants to basically get Extort out of everything, and he doesn't really need to cast it to win. So he's going to leave his Basilica Creature back, so that way, even if I like just attack with everything, give my Daring Skyjack flying, he still has that Screecher back to block. I mean, he is at 18, so he doesn't really need to worry about blocking, but the fact that I have my Nav Squad Commandos to become a 4-power, dude, I forgot. I mean, I said the battalion trigger, but I forgot to untap my dude there, so it doesn't really matter. Anyway, puts me in a not such a great position if he just blocks, because if he doesn't block, because he's still at a ton of life, and if he's got some big spell here, then I could be in bad shape. So anyway, let's go ahead and see what happens here. He's just gonna make weird blocks that I'm a little confused about. I really didn't expect him to trade his Screecher here. I expected him to just attack, but I should have known, since he didn't attack last turn, that he was going to block. And I mean, I'm fine with the trade here, so I'm a little bit confused as to why he's blocking. Maybe he doesn't think he can take 3 every turn, but I mean, we both all know now, since I said it earlier, he's got another Smite in hand. So now he basically has to figure out, does he want to smite my Daring Skycheck, or does he want to smite my Nav Squad Commandos? So he ends up blocking the Knight and blocking the Daring Skyjack, and I'm like very fine with this until he plays the Smite. So not only does he go up to 19 and I go down to 13, but I lose my Skyjack. He gets to keep his Basilica Screecher. Not exactly where I wanted to be at this point in the game. So that was unfortunate. I expected the Skyjack to at least trade for the Screecher, and the fact that it didn't was really bad. But I do deal 4 damage to him, so first time I've actually hit him since, I don't know, I mean, I've hit him for a couple here and there, but it's been a while. Anyway, if I had been able to keep that Court Street Denizen around, I think I would be in a much better shape here. Anyway, he's just going to pass the turn again, and at his end step, I'm going to cast a Homing Lightning on his Corpse Blockade, get rid of that, that way I can start getting in. I mean, I could have attacked anyway, but it basically just means that this Homing Lightning not only kills his creature, but will deal 3 damage to him, because he would have just been able to absorb the 3 damage next turn. So I think that it was kind of worth it. And here I draw a Molten Primordial. And obviously, the second you draw that card, no matter what type of game it is, your mind always thinks, can I kill him here? Because that card is just so powerful. So I determined that I can't. If I do steal his Basilica Creature and attack with everything, then I'll get in for 6 with the Molten Primordial, plus 4 from the Nav Squad Commandos, which will have Battalion, that's 10, plus 2 from the Knight is 12, and 1 from the Basilica Creature, which would have been 13 damage, which would take him down to 2. But instead of that, he's going to kill both my creatures at instant speed. Really wasn't expecting that. I do get a Devour Flesh, which is good. He determined that he would rather... Wow, that was confusing because, I mean, there's just a whole bunch of life total changes going on with all the extorting and stuff. So he played an Orzhov Charm extorted, so he would have lost 2, but he only lost 1, and I lost 1. And then he played a Devour Flesh, so I gained 5, but he also dealt me 1, so I only gained 4. So anyway, that's what happened there. Not exactly how I expected the turn to go when I cast that Homing Lightning the turn before. I expected to get in for a bunch and then be able to just win the game with Molten Primordial in a couple of turns. Anyway, I have another sweet draw step here, and I get a Sunhome Guildmage. So I'm going to play that and immediately just make a token and attack in with it. So I know that I don't even need to play the Molten Primordial. If this thing sticks around, then it's going to be game over very quickly. And I don't know if I was thinking this at the time, but it probably is just correct to not even attack with my Sunhome Guildmage. I think he's played a couple of Executioner swings, but I'm not sure how many. Anyway, he's got his 8th land drop here, and he's just going to play Illuminate Primordial, and that is putting me in very bad shape. So I'm going to gain 2 from that, but I lose 1 from the Extort, and then he's going to hit me for 1. So again, I'm thinking, can I kill him? And again, the answer is not quite. So I can do 11 damage to him here, take him down to 4, and it's a very good idea to do so now, because that means that all I need to do is just draw a way to deal the extra few points of damage, and I don't know how easy that's going to be, but I know that he's completely tapped out now, so I can get in for as much damage as I need. And this is where it's really unfortunate how for me at least, how Molten Primordial matches up with Luminate Primordial. So Luminate Primordial is a 4/7, Molten Primordial is a 6/4, so in combat they really don't compare. Luminate Primordial just destroys Molten Primordial, which makes sense because Luminate Primordial, alright, so it makes sense because Luminate Primordial is the white one, so it's less aggressive, but it should be more powerful since it's less aggressive. I don't know, whatever. He's going to play a couple of creatures here, which takes out one of my outs, which would have been like Aerial Maneuver, although I did already cast it, so I'm really not sure what I'm drawing to here. I guess maybe a Spark Trooper would have been good if he hadn't played those creatures. But I do have a Frontline Medic, so that puts me in decent shape, just not really the best shape. I really, really need to draw an excellent card in order to get out of this situation. I mean, I'm at 7 life, he's at 6, and all I've got is a Molten Primordial who can't attack, and a Frontline Medic who, if I attack, he gets indestructible, but I'll just die the next turn. So I really need some sort of impressive card here if I want to be able to take this game and then take the match. He's really deciding how to attack here. He needs to make sure that it's worth it to attack, and that there isn't any real risk that he loses. So I don't know what he's got in hand here, if he has anything. I think he's got at least a couple of cards, but I'm really not sure. So eventually he makes the decision to just attack with both the Assault Griffin and the Basilico Screecher. This way I will basically die next turn no matter what. And then second main phase he's going to cast a Basilica Guards. And unfortunately my next draw is just a Mountain, and that's going to be the game. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and stay tuned for the final game. Have a nice day. Bye.